Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're tackling an important question. How do you load custom properties files in Spring Boot? By default, Spring Boot automatically loads application.properties or application.yml. But what if you need a separate configuration file to organize settings by modules? That's where custom properties files come in. In this video, we'll explore multiple ways to load custom properties in Spring Boot. We'll see how to use a property source to load additional files, configure properties from an external location, and even leverage at configuration properties for structured data binding. By the end, you'll have a clear and efficient way to manage your app's configurations like a pro. So, grab your code editor, and let's dive right in. So far, we've built an API to return email config and another to fetch user config. But right now, all our configuration lives inside application.yml. What if we want to move email config to a completely separate custom properties file? That's exactly what we're going to do in this video. And don't worry, whether you're working with email config or user config, the steps remain the same. I'll show you the entire process on screen, from setting up the new file to making sure our API still works flawlessly. Ready? Create a new properties file named emailconfiguration.properties. This file will exclusively store email-related configurations. Cut all the email-related configuration from application.yml and paste the email configurations into this new file emailconfiguration.properties. Alright, let's get to work. Now, we're going to quickly convert all our keys into the standard properties format in our new email configuration.properties file. If you're not quite sure how to structure custom properties in a properties file, be sure to check out my detailed video on that topic, it's super helpful. For now, watch as I swiftly convert the keys. Alright, we've moved all our email-related properties into email configuration.properties. Now the big question is, will Spring automatically load these properties, or do we need to do some extra work? Let's find out. First, we'll start our server and then hit our API to check if the configuration loads correctly. Alright, let's start the application. Alright, our application is up and running. Now, let's switch over to Postman and hit our API endpoint. Alright, take a look at the screen. Notice something's off. None of our custom properties are showing up in the response. That tells us that Spring Boot isn't automatically loading our email configuration.properties file. So, what do we do? Don't worry, Spring has a solution for us. It provides a handy annotation called @propertySource. This annotation lets us explicitly tell Spring where to find our custom properties file. Once we provide the correct location, Spring will automatically load those properties for you. Alright, I'm about to make a change in our email configuration. If you're working with user config, you can make the exact same changes in your user configuration class. Just follow along as I update this one, it's exactly the same process. Add the @propertySource annotation right alongside @configuration in our class. This tells Spring exactly where to look for our custom properties file. We need to specify the file location, so start with class path, followed by the full name of our custom file. This ensures that Spring knows exactly where to find our properties. Using an exact physical path instead of class path, can lead to issues when deploying to the cloud. So, make sure you follow this pattern exactly as I'm doing it on screen. Now here's the best part. Once we add the @property source annotation, Spring will automatically read the data from our custom properties file and inject it. No impact on our existing annotations, everything works seamlessly together. So, rest assured, Spring will pull the data from our custom file in the same smooth way, keeping all our configurations intact. Alright, let's restart the application. Alright, our application is up and running again. Hit the API again. Look at my screen. This time, we've got all our email configuration data loaded perfectly from our custom properties file. That means our @property source annotation did the trick, and Spring is now picking up our custom config just like it does with application.yml or application.properties.
Pretty cool, right?
Alright, here's another cool trick. Spring Boot provides an alternative way to load custom properties without using annotations like @property source. We can leverage a special configuration property called spring.config.import. This property allows us to import additional configuration files. It accepts an array of file locations, so we have plenty of flexibility. Next, comment out @property source annotation in class file. Let's open our application.yml file. Add the spring.config.import property. And pass our custom file's location using the syntax class path, email configuration.properties. Now restart the application. Hit our API once again. As you can see on the screen, our API returned the perfect response, and all our custom configuration data is loaded flawlessly. Spring Boot is pulling in our settings exactly as we intended. Everything is working like a charm. This is the power of proper configuration management in action. Alright folks, let's quickly recap what we learned today. We discovered how Spring Boot handles custom properties by moving our email configuration into a separate file and importing it using both @property source and the spring.config.import property. Our API responded perfectly, confirming that our custom configuration loaded just as we intended. In the next video, we'll dive even deeper and explore how to use custom YAML files for configuration. If you found this video helpful, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.